Okay, so for your beginning of your assignment number 6, you're going to be doing your 2-point thumbnails for a bedroom, and you can use your SRIS book. On page 32, you can see, especially this bottom one, could be a good background to get the thumbnail started. So you just trace that and then just add the bed. Remember, the thumbnail doesn't have to look like anything in particular to anyone but you. But so I just explored some different options here with, maybe a bed with an arched opening and a hanging Moroccan fixture, or a canopy bed, or maybe something like this with a built-in around it, more of a platform situation, or something that's more basic with a quilted, padded, or tufted headboard and some side lights and a big window. Okay, so you want to have at least like 3 to 5 thumbnails again. And then in addition to just drawing them out, you're going to take a few marker colors and just experiment. Like if I'm going to do this Moroccan one, maybe I'm going to do kind of a neutral palette. And so see how I'm just going to put some marker adjacent to the thumbnail. I'm not coloring the thumbnail, but I'm going to add in some bright accents of orange and blue, just kind of bring in some of those Moroccan feeling colors. On this one, I want to keep it more subdued, so I'm going to use a range of grays and whites, and then maybe just use some pink accents for the canopy bed one. So see how I'm just putting these little dots of color next to it, or you get the idea, so on and so on. Like maybe this one I'm going to use all grays with some blue, or on this one I'm going to do more neutral tones, bring in some taupes and browns. But you're going to experiment by putting some color adjacent to the thumbnail. And then you're going to pick your favorite idea and block it out, which we'll see on our next video. But before you block it out, one thing I might suggest is, while we're on the topic of color, go ahead and take some of your neutral colors. So I've got the N52, the N60, the N57, and then I did the 89, 79, and 49. And I just did some streaks of each of those colors. I labeled them so I remember which one they are, and then just try adding some different colors on top of that, front and back. So I flipped the paper over, I did a coat on the front and coat on the back, and then you can just see like which neutralizes that pink the best out of all of these. Well, I think the 89 and 79 seem to neutralize it best. This N60 gives us an interesting feeling that I might use again too, because this N60 has kind of a purple undertone. So that could be effective also. You can see with the blue, none of these warm tones neutralize it that well. But maybe the N52, which has this kind of a pewter tone, does. And same thing, interestingly, the pewter tone also neutralizes this violet very well. So again, you just never know. This is why I suggest experimenting with your colors prior to adding them to your drawing, so you have a good game plan before you start. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to block out the 2-point bedroom for the homework. Okay, now for assignment number 6, you're going to create a 2-point block out of your bedroom, and you want to follow these specific steps to be able to draw it accurately. So the first step is you're rolling out an 18-inch wide sheet of flimsy. So don't give yourself a small sheet, you need a whole 18 inches wide. Okay? Then you're going to measure down 2 actual inches from the top of the paper, make a dot. Then you're going to measure down from that 4 inches, make another dot. And while you're there, make a mark again at the 2-inch mark. So you've got a dot at 0, 2, and 4. That's 2 inches down from the top of the paper and somewhat centered in the middle. Okay? Then on that center dot, you're going to go ahead and draw your horizon line from edge to edge on the paper. Okay? Then you're going to draw a vertical to connect the 2 other dots to create the corner of the room. Okay? So basically here we've got 2 inches here and 2 inches here connected by a vertical line. Now this is the critical juncture. You want to make sure that you locate your vanishing points, vanishing point left and vanishing point right, out here at the edges of the paper. Do not locate them in here or your drawing will not work. You need to bring them, that's why we have an 18-inch wide sheet of paper, so that the vanishing points can be around 18 inches apart. Okay? So once we've got that, now we're ready to draw our perspective. So we're going to connect from the left point, out from the top of that vertical and out, the left point to the bottom of the vertical and out to create the right wall. Again, you can use a straight edge for this if that's easier for you to see those converging lines, or you can, Rosie. I turned the camera off so my dog, you wouldn't hear my dog howling at the mailman, and she didn't even bark. Oh well, so here I go again. So as I was saying, this is the line could be used, drawn using a straight edge like so, or just coming out from the point with your full arm movement, making sure you're holding that angle. So notice how again the right wall is going to the left vanishing point. So that means our left wall is going to do what? Go to our right vanishing point. So we're going to come out from the right, hold the angle, and out from the right, hold the angle. Okay, so now we've got our 2-point room. Now we're going to block out the furniture by making a mark halfway up the wall. So now instead of inches, we're going to convert this to feet. This is now going to be an 8-foot high wall. So that means our eye level is halfway up at 4 feet. So again, this is now representing 8 feet of height, and our eye level is 4 feet high in the room, our horizon line. So now you're going to make a mark halfway up there. So again, that would be 2 feet. You'd have 2 feet from the floor. And I'm going to use that mark, excuse me, and measure it sideways, just kind of by arcing this down, or you can go, okay, here's 2 feet, here's 2 feet. Arcing it down like that. And that's going to give me my first dimension for my block out. Okay, so I'm going to connect from my left vanishing point through that 2-foot mark and draw a line across the wall. Okay, so that's 2 feet of height all along that right wall. Okay, that's going to help me get my furniture height. So now I have in this corner a 2-foot by 2-foot box basically. So now we're going to use that Xing technique that we practiced in class, and that is we're going to draw an X from corner to corner. Okay, and then we don't have to draw the vertical here, but we are going to connect from the left vanishing point through that X to create basically a line of foot off the floor now. So we have a line that's 1 foot off the floor and one line that's 2 feet off the floor. And like we practiced in class, we're going to use that to add on our next square by doing this. We're going to take a dot from the top of this vertical in the corner and through where this one intersects the next vertical. So you see I've got a dot at the top and one in the middle. And then I'm going to use that alignment, bring it down to the floor, and then bring my vertical up. And that's going to give me my next 2-foot box. So what's going to happen is 2 feet is going to gradually get bigger as it moves into the foreground of the drawing. So let's try that again. I'm going to take a dot from the top of this vertical, make another dot where it goes through the middle, and I'm going to connect those 2 dots down and up. So the important thing is you want to make sure your verticals are staying vertical and that you've created that angle coming down and up. So I just keep doing that from here through the middle, down and up, down and up. So that's what's going to help the 2 feet kind of expand as it moves out. I can do the same thing on this wall by simply, once again, going, okay, here's my 2 feet, because we're kind of centered here. I'm going to go ahead and start by coming from my right point. Okay, do the same thing. I don't need to exit out because I already know where my midline is, where that green line is, halfway up. But now I'm going to connect that from my right point and out. And I'll do the same thing. I go from the top through where that intersects the middle, down and up. Make sure you got the right alignment. So now I know how big. I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 feet of space going this way, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 feet of space going that way. And if I wanted to connect from my points, that could actually create a grid on the floor. But we're not going to go there yet. Okay, we're going to just use these to create our perspective footprints. By simply thinking, okay, if I have a nightstand here in the corner that's a foot deep and 2 feet wide, Now I know where to put that footprint, okay, by simply going, okay, I got halfway here, it's 2 feet out, I'm going to connect from my left point. So there's the front of the nightstand on the floor, there's the footprint, and then I come from the right point through that mark, there's the side of the nightstand on the floor. If I want my bed to be 6 feet wide, I can just go 1, 2, 3, so remember 2, 4, 6, coming from the right point and out through those 2 marks will give me the width of the bed. Okay, so what if I want to figure out the length of the bed? Let's say it's 6 feet long. I'm going to go 1, 2, 4, 6, a little bit extra. Let's make it 7 feet long. We get California King. And then I'm going to come through here, and now I've got my footprint on the floor for the bed. Okay, so remember that the important thing with 2-pointer, that all the parallel lines are converging to the same point. So again, the sides of the bed are parallel, so they're both going to the right, and they're also parallel to the left wall, right? So the left wall is going to the right, that means the sides of the bed are going right. If the front of the nightstand's going left, the foot of the bed's parallel to that, so it's going left. So let's take that into account as we draw our next nightstand. If I wanted another 1 foot by 2 foot nightstand on this side, I can just connect from my left point through that depth of the nightstand. That'll show me how thick it should be here, how deep. Connect from the right point, and now I've got my footprint for the nightstand. Okay, so I've got nightstands on either side of the bed. Okay, so now I want to bring up the height. So what I'm going to do is, I already have my height here, 2 feet high. Let's try this in a different color. You got 2 feet high. And that's why you have these different colored pins in your kit, you know, for you to utilize them. So I'm going to connect from my right point through that 2 foot mark and come out over the corner, and that's going to give me the height of the bed. Now this is where your brain's going to want to trick you, because you're going to think that doesn't look right. It's too tall. But in fact, we want the bed to look like it's overlapping the back wall, right? If you go and look in the room of your house or look at your bed, you'll see that visually it looks like it's overlapping the wall. So don't second guess yourself. Don't try to go like this and bring the same height out. That won't be right. Because remember, size perspective, things get bigger as they move toward you visually. So just trust it, and will take shape in spite of yourself. Okay, so now if I'm going to come here to the left point, okay, coming back from the left point across that vertical will give me the closest vertical of the bed right here. And then I just go back to my right point to get the block for the bed. So at this point you can also, you know, blacken in your block so you can see, just make it a little darker so maybe you can see it better.